Hello and welcome. My name is Lisa. I'm a certified financial planner who wants to see more of you building wealth. In this video, I am covering a list of 15 different things you should do for your finances at least once a year in order to stay organized and in order to keep your financial progress going. It is a long list, so rather than blabber on like I tend to do in a lot of my videos, I'm just gonna jump straight to the list. The first action you should take every year is, number one, revisit your financial goals and intentions. You should make sure that your savings plan, your investing, your spending habits all reflect your goals. And if you're the type of person who's never written down your goals or your financial goals specifically, this would be the time to define what it is you want financially. And more importantly, you have to know why you want to get out of debt. Why do you want to buy a new car? Why do you want to be able to travel more? So it's as simple as write down your goals, estimate how much that would cost you, identify your timeline, and then specifically think about why this matters to you. What benefit, what value does it add to your life? If you can revisit your goals and intentions at least once a year, more often than not, it's gonna help you stay on track with your financial decisions and the financial progress you make because of those decisions. Number two, check your credit report. You're entitled to one free credit report each year from each of the 3 bureaus at annualcreditreport.com. Make sure that's the exact link because there are other scams out there with similar URLs. Now, even if your bank offers ongoing credit monitoring or gives you access to your score, I still think it's smart to review your full reports from the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and this is for the United States specifically. But I think it's important to check those for errors, to check for outdated information, or to check for signs of fraud. You can either pull them all at once a year, or space them out every 4 months so that you have year-round check-ins. Number three, something else you want to do at least once a year is to review your net worth. Your net worth is everything you own, your assets, minus everything you owe, your liabilities. And that number, that net worth, is a snapshot of your financial picture. When you check it every year, or maybe twice a year, 3 times a year, what you hope to see over time is growth. The shorter the time frame, within a week or a month, you might see it go up and down and fluctuate. But over a year, over 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, your goal is to see that constantly increase. So nowadays, there are plenty of apps that calculate this for you, but I do like to suggest doing it manually at least once because it gives you a deeper understanding of what makes up your assets and what makes up your liabilities. And doing it once a year does not take up a lot of time. And on top of that, I do have a free spreadsheet that you can use to track it. So I'll drop that link in the description if you want that free resource. Number 4, something else to do once a year for your finances is to check your insurance coverages. So review all of your policies: health insurance, dental insurance, auto insurance, renters or homeowners insurance, disability insurance, life insurance. Some of these you might have through your employer, and some of them might be policies that you have on your own. You just want to review your coverages to make sure you're not underinsured, and also to make sure you're not overpaying for coverage that you don't need. Now, more likely than not, the different types of insurance you have are going to have different renewal periods. So checking on your insurance coverages might not be a once a year thing. You still can, right? You can check them all at the beginning of the year, or you can just make an effort to check each policy right before it's up for renewal. The goal is not going years and years without even looking at your insurance to know what your coverage is, because that's how a lot of people end up paying for insurance that they don't even need. Number 5, another thing that you want to do at least once a year is to review your subscriptions and your recurring charges. I actually think you should do this maybe once a quarter or at least twice a year, but go through your bank statements, go through your credit card statements, go through your email receipts, Just look for any monthly or annual subscriptions that you might have forgotten about. So cancel anything you don't want anymore or pause it, or just check in to see how often you're using the ones that you do have. Streaming platforms, apps, gym memberships, digital tools. Now is the time to comparison shop for these services and see if you can save yourself some money. Number 6, update your budget categories. So whatever method you use for budgeting or tracking your expenses, double check that the categories you divide your expenses in still make sense for your life, for the things that you want. Like maybe you work from home now and you spend less on gas, and maybe that means you can move some more of your gas money towards other categories. The problem people mostly have with budgeting is they can't stick to it because it's never accurate enough or close enough to their actual expenses. The more accurate you can be with your categories and your spending plan, the more useful it's going to be and the more motivated you're going to be to stay on track with your budget. Number 7, something else to do at least once a year is to review your emergency fund. So check whether or not your emergency savings fund still covers 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses, or whatever you feel your target emergency fund should be. So the beauty of an emergency fund is you pick an amount as your safety net, you save towards it, you put it in an account, and once you hit that goal amount, you just put it off to the side and you forget about it. Now you have a financial safety net and you have peace of mind. But the thing is, life changes, and if you don't check in on it, you might need more of a safety net. For example, maybe your living expenses have gone up, you've taken on more bills, your lifestyle has increased, maybe you've changed jobs, maybe inflation has just made everything more expensive. If you funded a 3-month emergency fund and so many expenses went up, you might not have a 3-month emergency fund, even though the money hasn't changed. You might have a 1-month emergency fund. So all you want to do is at least once a year or regularly check in on it, see if you should pad it a little bit more. And the best time to do that is just on a regular basis when you are proactive with your finances. Number 8, something else related to your finances that you want to do at least once a year is to request a raise or assess your market value. So if you have not gotten a solid raise at your job in a while, I think you owe it to yourself to make sure you're being compensated fairly according to your market value. Even if you love your job and you're very content with it, you still want to be paid for the value you bring. And if it's been a while, a year, 2 years, multiple years where you haven't gotten a solid increase, it's something that you want to look into. There are things you can do like review your performance over the past year. You can look up salary benchmarks. There's a lot of websites now that kind of post what people make. And at the very least, you can set up a meeting with your manager or HR or whoever is responsible for your compensation and have the conversation. Ask them what the path is to get that next raise. And then another way to assess your market value is to apply for jobs. Look for opportunities elsewhere. This doesn't mean that you have to leave your job if you like it. It just means you're staying informed. You know the potential you have at another job, at another company. And it's not about wasting HR's time at another company. You're legitimately seeing what's out there just to kind of be there for comparison to your current situation. And you always have the power to choose if you want to stay or if you want to go somewhere else. Number 9, another thing to do yearly is to review your contributions to retirement. So these are US based accounts, but you would want to check in on your 401k or your 403b or your IRA. Check to see if you're contributing enough to stay on track with your retirement goals. Most retirement accounts now, if you log in, they give you a projection of what it will look like in the future. And if that doesn't fit with when you want to retire and how much you want to have at retirement, you can look into increasing your contributions. Sometimes your retirement account is actively managed and the asset allocation is adjusted for you, but other times it's not. So checking in on it at least once a year will help you make sure that your asset allocation is what you want it to be. Number 10. Something else I need to remind myself to do, but everyone should do this, is review the beneficiaries on your accounts. So there are different types of beneficiaries, payable on death and transfer on death, and it depends on the type of account. But the fact of the matter is, some of your accounts that have money or investments in them, you are able to designate a beneficiary. This means if something happens to you, the worst happens to you, that your money, your assets, your investments will go to whoever you want them to. The reason you want to check this on a yearly basis is life happens. Changes happen in life. People get married, people get divorced, people have kids, people have deaths in the family, people make up and break up. You want to make sure that your beneficiary designations reflect your current wants and needs. Maybe you put your best friend on one of your accounts and then you guys had a friendship breakup and now you want that money to go to your sister if something were to happen to you. So check those bank accounts, retirement accounts, life insurance policies, and even checking and savings accounts should let you do that. Generally, when you designate these beneficiaries, it will override your will, which means it's so much easier to get your money and assets to the people you love in much easier fashion if something were to happen to you. All right, we're 10 down. We got 5 to go. I think I'm going at a good pace and not rambling too much. You guys know I do that sometimes in my videos, but that's just because I like going in depth. Anyway, I'm doing it again right now. Before we finish those last 5 on the list, quick reminder, if you're getting anything useful out of this video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It is gonna help my channel continue to reach more people, and I appreciate all of you for showing all the love. Let's finish off the list with these last 5. Number 11, something else you should do at least once a year, is to review and adjust your W-4 if needed. This is your withholdings. So again, this might work differently if you are in another country, but if you work a job in the United States and you get paid on payroll, you have taxes taken out of your paycheck, withheld for the end of the year when you do your tax filings. The reason you want to check in on how much you're withholding is because your tax situation could have changed in the last year. Maybe you have a new job, a new side hustle, new source of income. Maybe you got married, maybe you have more deductions. All these things can impact what your tax liability is going to be. And I know that a lot of people like to get a big tax refund at the end of the year because you were kind of forced into saving it, and it's a nice bonus at the end of the tax year. But ultimately, from a financial perspective, you don't want to have a big refund because you're just prepaying the government that they're able to use on other things. Whereas if you have the right amount of withholdings, you're not going to owe taxes, but you'll have more money in your hand sooner, like when you get paid your paychecks. And as long as you can dedicate that money towards saving, investing, paying off debt, you are going to help grow your net worth a lot faster than if you are over withholding on your taxes. So a good time to do this is right after you file your taxes because you have a gauge on whether or not you are withholding too much or too little. So just make sure you check in on this from time to time so that you can plan your tax strategy accordingly. Number 12. I actually don't know why I put this on the list because I actually think you should do this way more than once a year, but it is to declutter your financial documents. So take some time, at least once a year, to organize all of your financial paperwork. And I always say to have both a physical way to organize your financial papers and a digital way to organize your financial documents. Now, I think you should do this on a more regular basis, like quarterly, but if you always put it off, then at the very least, don't let a year go where you haven't cleaned up your financial documents. When you keep your documents organized, you're going to be less likely to miss bills, which means you're going to save money on late fees. You're going to be less likely to lose tax forms, which are very important and you need them for tax season. And you're going to be less likely to feel overwhelmed when different financial tasks come up because you already know what they are. And you're not just building this everlasting stack of papers that you're never going to get to. Number 13. Something else you should do at least once a year, and this only applies if you have debt, that is to reassess your debt payoff strategy. So if you follow my channel for some time now and you have debt, I hope by now you have created a debt payoff plan. If you haven't, then I have a free spreadsheet that you can download in the description. And it is specifically for people who have multiple debts and need a strategy on how to attack them. So at least once a year, you want to check in on your debt payoff strategy to see, have you paid off any of the debts? Do you need to direct more money towards another debt now? Do you want to switch your strategy from the debt avalanche method to the debt snowball method, or vice versa? And are there other opportunities to automate payments or consolidate debts? Your goal is to check in on your progress and simply make sure that your approach that you're using to pay off debt still aligns with your bigger financial picture and goals, and to make sure you're staying on track. All right, number 14. Another thing you should review at least once a year are your financial tools and apps. Review your financial tools and apps. Are your budgeting apps working? Are your spreadsheets still working? Like, when's the last time you revised it? Was it recently, or was it like 6 months ago? Is whatever method you're using to manage your finances still working? I've realized that with clients, this is where they feel disorganized. It's when they get excited, they get motivated to improve their finances. Maybe they try a spreadsheet, maybe they try an app, and then couple weeks, couple months later, they stop using it. And then they never get reminded to try again or to try to find something else. So that's why I want you to review your financial tools and your apps at least once a year, because you'll know if something didn't work, now is the time to try something new. Or at the very least, you check in and see that this was working, so you should continue to use it. The worst thing you can do is to let more than a year go when you haven't tracked anything, when you haven't managed your money well, and you don't have any motivation or reason to start again. When you set this recurring goal to, all right, once a year, I'm gonna check in, I'm gonna see what my money management system is, what apps am I using, what apps do I wanna try? If you do that at least once a year, then you're not gonna go too long with letting your finances get out of control. You will always feel more organized. All right. Last but not least, number 15, something that you want to do on a yearly basis is to review and reflect on your spending patterns. So oftentimes when people start to learn how to manage their money well and to track their cash flow and to understand where all of your dollars are going on a monthly basis, that's great. You should do that. You should have a good understanding of where your money goes. But oftentimes we forget to look at the big picture, right? Once a year, you should look at the past year. What did you spend on? Go to your credit card accounts and change the date range to the entire past year and see how your money was divided. How much did you spend on food versus housing versus travel? If you can look at your spending from a bird's eye view and look not just on a detailed day-to-day level, but a bigger set of data, like a whole year, that's another way you can check to see if your spending aligns with your bigger goals. At the end of the day, what you want to do is build awareness so that every spending decision you make today and tomorrow and in the future is intentional. All right, that was 15 different things that I think you can do to improve your finances and stay organized. And most of them you can do just once a year. I know some of them I said do it a couple times a year, but put them in your calendar, set up a money date where you can work on your finances regularly. And I promise all of these things are gonna help you stay organized and feel so much more organized with your finances. All right, I hope this was helpful. Until next time, peace out.